Okay, Patrick Mahomes there defending Jalen Hurts, doesn't think he deserves all that criticism. Stephen A., is Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni more disrespected?
I think it's Nick Sirianni, personally. I think when you look at Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's being insulted. I think you're waiting for him because you know his potential, what his potential is. You saw him in a Super Bowl. You saw him take a team to a Super Bowl. You're just waiting for him to finish the job so you can mention him to some degree in the same breath as you mentioned some of the other dudes outside of Patrick Mahomes. In the case of Nick Sirianni, you had people that were saying, look, you lost both coordinators and you nosedived. So it was really about them. It wasn't really that much about you. Then they came into this season and, you know, people didn't like the way he behaved. They questioned some of his play calling decisions and what have you. And they said to themselves, you know what? Is this the right coach for the Philadelphia Eagles? There was a time when people were speculating that if the Eagles bowed out of the playoffs early, then Nick Sirianni would be looking for a job. And here he is winning games, getting the team to the playoffs each year. This is his second Super Bowl appearance. I think it's clear that he's been more disrespected than Jalen Hurts.
I disagree. Because I think the thing is we want a guy to make it aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
I need Jalen Hurts to throw for 300, 3 touchdowns, play a clean game. Yeah, we like to run it, but we're going to kind of leave that to Lamar Jackson. You can hear the guy, here's the second time in 3 years that he's been to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's never done that. Josh Allen's never done that. Lamar Jackson's never done that. And D.O., we had a conversation yesterday. If you had a choice to draft, Jalen Hurts never gets mentioned in that same breath. He's very disrespected because the ultimate job of a quarterback, yes, we like to be aesthetically pleasing, but his job is to win the game. Win. If you win, that should be enough. But for some reason, for Jalen Hurts, it's not enough. Nick Sirianni, again, Stephen A., he's his second Super Bowl in 3 years also. Look, he's not gonna get the credit that he deserves because, like you said, the way he dresses, you know, he has his mock turtlenecks on, and he came out there with a sweatsuit, Stephen A. in his first press conference.
Right.
They're like, how did you even get the? Who is this young man?
Right.
But Jalen Hurts, I agree. I think Jalen Hurts is the most disrespected quarterback in the NFL, considering the rate in which he wins, and he doesn't get enough credit for it.
I'll say it like this, man. It didn't take until I went to talk to Jalen to realize what this young man has been through. And this is a person who I followed his whole career, obviously going to that other school in Alabama. You dig what I'm saying? So when you talk to him, he mentions this. What other quarterback throughout college and the NFL has only had the play caller be twice in his career, consecutive years? Every year he's had a different play caller in his ear. So when you see that and you think to yourself, okay, when you talk about the stability of Patrick Mahomes, who's been the only play caller that he's known? Andy Reid. When you think about the greatness of Tom Brady, he's not had a lot of guys in his ear calling plays. So it's that type of thing that you think about, like, yo, Jalen Hurts has been through a lot. But is it aesthetically pleasing? We've turned to look at people's impact and say to yourself, like, yo, you're a game manager. Yeah, you're a game changer. And I've been one of those guys who have been very critical of guys being what they are to their team. But I've said it numerous times. Just because he has not doesn't mean that he cannot.
Yeah.
When you're talking about Jalen Hurts, he's a guy that only knows how to put himself second to get himself and his team to winning formulas.
I don't think Hurts is that disrespected. He's not Burrow, Allen, or Lamar. I don't think
what I'm saying? Yes.
He had a great Super Bowl 2 years ago, but Sirianni is 48-20 as a head coach. He's been in 4 straight postseasons, and as Stevie said, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. He wins 14 games every year.
Dog it.
Does anybody think Sirianni's a big-time coach?
Nobody.
I don't
been his quarterback,
but I think he's.
Let me ask you a question. And those 48-20 wins, who was his quarterback?
Well,
Yeah, hello.
But I don't think. But people don't think Sirianni's that big a coach. Everybody thinks that Hurts is a pretty good quarterback.
No, but you said he's not Burrow. He's not Josh Allen.
Right. And the only reason why you say that.
Which one of those guys have gone to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years?
Well, remember, though, Shannon, he's in the NFC. In the AFC, you got better quarterbacks. He's got to get through Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
But I'll say this, Matt,
the NFC doesn't have to deal with that.
When you're asking him to do what Joe Burrow is is asked to do, Josh Allen is asked to do, Lamar Jackson is asked to do. That's not Philadelphia Eagles winning formula.
Correct.
So that forces Jalen Hurts to say, listen, what's more important, my statistics or win? If you allow me to put the ball up 35, 40 times a game that Joe Burrow needs to do for his team to have a chance, of course he's going to have better stats.
So I was just sitting here, I'm just making it up when I look at both of y'all, and at no time this season, did y'all look at Jalen Hurts and go like, yo, man, he's going to have to be better to win the Super Bowl? Y'all never did that? I'm making that up.
No, I've been one of the ones that should not disrespect.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't think that's my point. But I never interpreted it as you disrespecting. Yes. I interpreted it as you saying, yo, to win the chip, you're going to need to do more than what we're seeing you do. That is not being disrespectful to him, because we know he can ball.
But it's this, though. It is the statistic when it's saying when they win football games. There was a narrative that only Jalen Hurts had like 150 yards passing.
121, 118.
You see what I'm saying? Well, you're looking at it like that, and you're used to seeing the position be played by guys that's putting up 300, 350, clean games and things like that. Now you're looking at, what did the other guy do?
Okay, can I ask you this question?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that Nick Sirianni, since becoming the Eagles coach in 2021, has 5 more wins than any team in the NFC? I bet you didn't know that. You know why you wouldn't know that? Because nobody thinks about that when it comes to Nick Sirianni.
Okay.
Nobody thinks about it. Now, I know who the quarterback was. I know who the quarterback. But again, we talk about the good and the question. Jalen Hurts.
Right.
With Nick Sirianni, we don't consider the good because nobody's thought about him as being a good coach.
Roseman gets all the credit with Philadelphia, the general manager, not the head coach. Hey, here's another way to look at it. Everybody looks at Hurts as a top 10 quarterback. I do. Shannon does. You do. Kim, you and I do.
Yes.
Anybody look at Sirianni as a top 10 coach? Nobody.
You haven't thought about it.
Peyton's better. This guy's better. Obviously, McVay's better. Nobody looks at him, and unless I don't love him.
Yeah.
You know, he antagonizes the fan base. He's a little wild.
But that's a Philly thing. That's like he's old school. He's old school.
I'm not a big fan, but he is. Got to be fair. And if the freaking officials didn't call a hold, which I couldn't say,
it was a hold.
No, come on, you can't make that call. In a Super Bowl, you're going to end the game on a holding penalty.
Let me ask you a quick,
on
Doggy.
3rd and 8. I hated the call.
Doggy, you told Molly that you're going to bet 20 grand in some sort of combination.
Yeah.
So should I not believe that? Bradford DeFord told you he held Juju. He said he was getting away from it, and I didn't think the official was going to see it. But I did hold it. He said that out of his own mouth.
He did.
The official went to the pool report and said, we saw Juju go in. He tries the option away. He gives him a tug.
Okay. But this is what I'm going to ask you as a receiver, Shay.
Yes.
How many times have you ever got held out of 10 routes that you ran? A lot.
Yes.
How many times was it called, though?
But it's so egregious.
But it's one of those times. It's the timing of things. And that goes back to the overall narrative with the Kansas City Chiefs. They do get bailed out with certain calls because of the timing of certain things.
What about that PI that A.J. Brown got in the championship game